Brought to you by Charity Mobile. Support life with every call and text when you switch your cell phone service. Use promo code TRADITION at CharityMobile.com for a special Christmas offer now through February 2nd.
As you might be aware, there are numerous dioceses in the United States, and definitely beyond, engaging in some process of consolidation, where the number of parishes are being greatly reduced because of a lack of vocations. Right now, there is talks that the Diocese of Steubenville is going to be essentially absorbed by a neighboring diocese. The Diocese of Steubenville will cease to exist. Think about the implications of that for as long as you need. There are now, instead of breaking large dioceses down into smaller dioceses, which is probably a better option in terms of making sure your bishop has time to actually meet the faithful, spend time with them, and not need an army of auxiliary bishops to do his job. Instead, they're doing the opposite. Larger dioceses, because there are fewer priests. And because there are fewer priests, they're going to have an army of these auxiliary bishops who are going to have to travel around and do the functions of the bishop, because he can't possibly do things all on his own. And the latest example of this story comes to us from a Catholic Vote, who posted this to their website. Headline: Archdiocese of Dubuque to dramatically reduce the number of Sunday masses. What happens when you reduce the number of parishes in your diocese? Logically, you reduce the number of Sunday mass options. Why is Rome doing all the things it's doing right now? Because we know the solution to this problem. We know that vocations come from the parishes that have altar rails, where communion received kneeling and on the tongue is highly recommended, if not the norm, where the masses are offered as if the priest and the laity participating actually believe that Christ is truly present in the sacrament of the altar. We know that vocations tend to be higher in traditional Latin Mass parishes. Everything you would do to foster vocations in the church, the Vatican is doing the opposite of. It looks like they're trying to create as few vocations as possible. You would be forgiven for coming to the conclusion that that is what they're doing, because they're taking and playing the guidebook, essentially, for destroying vocations in the church. So that laity have to take on the functions of priests, and that laity have to take on the functions of bishops, so that the few priests and bishops they have are overworked and don't have the ability to do, essentially, their jobs. So you have to ask yourself, why? What is the point? The Archdiocese of Dubuque, Iowa, is working toward a major restructuring in 2027, which would include the consolidation of 161 parishes into about 28 pastorates, ending weekend masses at 83 churches. Some Catholic Iowans are objecting to the plan. No kidding. We are real people. We matter. Mark Tillman, a parishioner at one of the churches that might lose weekend masses, said, according to KWWL, an NBC affiliate that serves Eastern Iowa. Our parishes matter. The people we serve in the communities matter. And these draconian cuts to the rural parishes will be morally and spiritually devastating to our parishes, and our communities will suffer. Some critics of the plan say that it has been developed too quickly, and that most of the parishes slated to lose weekend masses are in sound financial positions. So for once, it's not only the money. According to KWWL, an NBC affiliate that serves Eastern Iowa, only 14% of parishes in the Archdiocese have any debt, and only 2% have more debt than cash assets, according to an email press release from Save 83 Parishes, a group that opposes the plan. Our church is financially stable, Tillman said. The parishes around us are financially stable. Despite individual parishes being in good financial shape, the Archdiocese says it's facing many problems, most importantly, a priest shortage. According to the Archdiocese Journey in Faith website about the restructuring, there are currently only 85 priests in the Archdiocese, and that number is projected to drop to just 59 in the next 7 years. The website also notes that the only sacrament with growing demand is funerals. There have been dramatic shifts in population, culture, and finances within our Archdiocese. Archbishop Thomas Zinkula wrote in a letter to the faithful of the Archdiocese, "We're using only 37% of our church capacities each weekend. Since 2006, Mass attendance is down 46% throughout the Archdiocese. These are the facts we must confront so we can discern how to best carry forward our mission. If we're to build something lasting for our children, grandchildren, and generations to come, we must face these challenges with faith and courage. We must face these challenges with faith and courage. How about you face the only solutions to this with faith and courage, even if that means throwing the gauntlet down to Rome, who demands you get rid of even your reverent masses, and let alone your traditional masses. How about you stand up and not implement Traditionis Custodes until they force you to? And by force you to, I mean they make you choose between continuing in active ministry as a bishop or facing early retirement like they did to Bishop Strickland. You do those things and you will not have mass attendance problems, at least not to the degree that you have them now. It's not a money problem, except, of course, there is one other money problem that almost every diocese is facing. And that is the continuing slog of lawsuits from the McCarrick problem era. Some of them lawsuits that have long since been settled, but the payments are still needing to be made. So the church has to liquidate assets. And despite what you may have heard about the church having tons and tons of property, the problem is a lot of that property are parishes. And not every diocese is the same on that. Not in every diocese will have a nice elderly couple passed away and willed their private property to the church. Or if they have, in a lot of places, that stuff has already been resold to take care of this lawsuit problem. So money does factor into this, just not in the way that they're talking about, because individual parish debt and the archdiocesan debt are different stories altogether. What do you think they're going to do with those parishes when they consolidate them? And the ones they close, the 83 parishes they close, do you think they're just going to cut the power, maybe lock the building up and let it sit there until some drastic turnaround in mass attendance and vocations happens? You know as well as I do what they're going to do with those. Most of those properties will be sold and turned into secular purposes. The parishes will be deconsecrated. Any relics and any buried figures or whatever will be removed from the parish, and it'll be turned into a gymnasium or a restaurant or highway patrol office or whatever else that they do with these. But they won't be used for the worship of God anymore. The bishop talks about needing to have courage to face this change. It also takes courage to acknowledge the situation, both in your diocese, but also from above, and then to resist, come what may. I'm very curious what you have to say about this. Philip in the chat says, sounds like here in rural Spain, there is a priest in Galicia who has like 20 parishes. And you know as well as I do that he is not offering 20 masses that are broken up between the vigil masses on Saturday night and Sunday. He can't. A lot of those priests either don't have masses at all, or they're having a Eucharistic service where a lay person or a deacon offers the Eucharist with a couple of Bible readings and some quiet prayer time to meet your Sunday obligation. That is coming to a diocese near you if you don't have it already. A decade and a half ago, I traveled to New Jersey to meet a friend, and I went to Mass with them to their home parish, and I met their priest. Didn't get a chance to talk to him. He had 5 other parishes to offer Mass at on Sunday. Normally, a priest is only allowed to offer 3 Masses in a day, but as you probably can figure out, the bishop offered a dispensation so that he could offer Masses, 5 of them, on a Sunday. How many confessions do you think that priest is hearing? Probably not that many, because you also have to drive around to numerous parishes to offer Masses every day. That's in New Jersey, a historically pretty Catholic part of the country. They will not address the elephant in the room, which is the cause of the loss of vocations, which is the changes wrought on the church during and after the council. You can graph it. I went over one of those graphs the other day on this channel. Every other denomination of Christianity in North America is either holding steady or growing in its Sunday attendance, but the Catholic faith is experiencing a catastrophic drop in Mass attendance. When will these men do something about it? I don't expect it to happen anytime soon. But I'm very curious what you have to say in the live chat, so please let me know, and please pray for everybody who spoke about today. negatively or not, Pope Leo, Cardinal Fernandez, the Bishop of Dubuque, any of them. Pray for them. They need your prayers. And always pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.